out, and I feel like I've got the best team out of the four. So I definitely like our chances.
If you could make one change to the playoff format, what would it be?
I mean, my answer for that is going to be completely different than what I feel like all you guys are going to say. But, you know, I've always been a traditional racer growing up, so I guess for me, I would rather have a whole season champion and go off cumulative points.
Cool, thank you.
You talked about throughout the, I think if I recall, throughout the year you've been trying to build on this organization, build on your stock value. I asked this question to Truex last year about being the dark horse or the underdog. You feel like you're not due to the consistency you built this year, especially the breakout year you've had?
Sorry, do I not think?
No, do you not think in terms of you don't see yourself as the dark horse at all?
Not really. I mean, I think that I am capable, just as capable as the other three of winning. So, you know, there's a lot that goes into it, and it's one race, and whoever performs the best for that one race is going to be a champion.
I could think of a handful of moments to choose from this year, but from your perspective, what would you say is one that's really defined your season to where you knew that you were going to be a championship contender?
Probably, man, I don't know. I guess even early on in the season, I felt like we had the performance to be a championship contender, but that's still a long way away. And then, you know, I guess the defining moment for me would be Charlotte Road Course, just being down and out, and then performing our best when it matters most at the end of that race. So, yeah, I think that really says a lot about our team, because it would have been very easy to give up going into the Roval, which we knew was not going to be a great race for us. And as it turned out, it was not a great race. You know, we were a back half of the top 10 car, but the yellow flag came out, and we were able to perform how we needed to perform to win.
You're racing for a cup championship. What goes through your mind when you hear something like that?
Yeah, just really, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's quite sank in yet that the opportunity is in front of me. So just got to go out there and do our jobs. And, you know, I just got asked a couple minutes ago about if I thought about winning, and the answer is no, I have not thought about winning. Just trying to focus on being the best out of the four this weekend.
Any advice from your teammates? Because two of the three of them have championships, and Denny's been in a lot of Final Fours. So,
yeah, I haven't heard from them yet. Kurt Busch actually reached out to me. That was very thoughtful of him, and a guy that I've respected tons. And he is kind of a teammate, I guess, in the Toyota household. So that's cool. But you know that my three teammates at JGR obviously are still racing and competitive. They're trying to win a race this weekend too, so it doesn't shock me that I haven't heard from them.
What sort of advice did Kurt give you?
He just, I don't know. He just, you know, he's been I guess a somewhat of a mentor to me, and he told me to enjoy the moment, and you know, just don't choke.
If you were a second behind on the final lap at Phoenix, would you entertain the idea of doing what Ross did last weekend on the final lap?
If NASCAR does not put a rule in place or police wall riding, I think that will open up a huge can of worms, and I think that all four of us will do whatever it takes to win a championship.
How is that feeling, like to be that first driver to sort of have that milestone of doing it at all three levels?
Yeah, that was mind blowing. You know, I had no idea that was even up for grabs 5 years ago or 6 years ago, whenever I went to my first truck Final Fours. So that caught me off guard, and that's obviously a really cool stat. Disappointed I didn't win the Xfinity Championship, because I think that one's still up for grabs too, the first to win all three.
Quick question. Your wins this year, you kind of went through this last week a little bit, but you've had two real clinch wins. You know, Adam was talking about how you had 3 wins this season, but you did it twice. Is that more important? Is that more epic in a season like this to make the Final Four and do what you did?
You know, I've always said in my full-time NASCAR career that, you know, the goal is to make the Final Four. And then whenever you get to the Final Four, it's a toss-up, and whoever performs the best that race or has the best luck, or you look at Carl Edwards, who didn't win a championship at JGR but was clearly the favorite in that race and clearly the best car. That's heartbreaking. So the goal is to make the Final Four, and then whatever happens.
So these guys were talking about stick and ball sports. Clutch wins in stick and ball sports stick out in people's minds. How do you hold that in your mind, this season, next season, and into your long career going in NASCAR?
Yeah, I'm sure that those 2 wins at Charlotte Road Course and Martinsville are going to be very high on my win list for a long time to come.
Are those back against the wall, have to win, are those more exhausting, more draining, or do you think you're just thriving and gives you more energy?
I love it. I eat it up, and I thrive on pressure. The more pressure that you can put on a situation, seems like the better I perform.
So next year you should treat like every weekend like it's a elimination race, right?
Yes. But with that being said, a lot of people have asked me if I treat this weekend different than any other weekend. And I go back to, if I do treat this weekend different than any other weekend, that simply means that I wasn't doing my job, on week 5, 6, 7. Because it's not like I want to win this race any more than I did at Dover or Charlotte in the spring.
I got to talk to your parents today, and they talked about the first car that you had. The dad said you guys put together sponsorship. I paid $3,800 for it. And then your mom said the first time to run it, you didn't want to run it. And she said she had to bribe you with buying a Nintendo game. Do you remember any of that? I mean, I know you were 5, so I don't even know.
Do I remember that? I guess so. I remember just being super nervous about the situation and not wanting to drive.
Yeah.
But then as soon as I got in, I fell in love with it.
Jared Haas with FrontStretch.com. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, check one of those 2 videos out that we have right beside you. Visit FrontStretch.com for more great content.